Should a self-taught web developer learn computer science concepts? Yes, for sure. It's very easy to get caught up in these free courses or paid courses or tutorials where they're just shoving JavaScript down your throat. They're saying just learn HTML, CSS, and JavaScript and you'll be good. Whereas server-side something like Node with JavaScript or Ruby or Python or PHP or whatever. You go on for days with all the different client-side frameworks and server-side languages and frameworks that go along with them, and there's tons to learn. And it's kind of like, well, if I'm busy trying to acquire all these new languages and learn this stuff, then how will I ever have time to learn computer science concepts? Especially with things like Angular putting out new versions, version 6 and so on, like every couple months, or it may even be more than that. And then there's new frameworks always popping up, and people are saying that the JavaScript fatigue is kind of slowing down. This whole like new framework every couple months or every year is slowing down, and it may be, but I think at some point it'll probably speed up again, and people will find new ways to do things, and people will jump on board with it because it'll be faster and better and greater, and all these new startups will use it, and that's just the way it goes. So how do you avoid getting overwhelmed by all this new stuff that comes out? And I think from everything I've read and everything I've learned in my journey as a developer, I would say that really gaining an understanding of the building blocks of programming and understanding computing as a whole, computers from hardware all the way to software, operating systems, networks, algorithms, data structures, all that stuff, is really going to help you grow exponentially as a developer, as opposed to someone who is able to pick up a new framework every time a newer version gets released, or every time a competitor releases their new version of whatever JavaScript framework. And even now they're talking about WebAssembly is becoming a pretty big thing, and I mean it may have been a big thing for a while now, but it's definitely coming up. And so that's pretty cool to see that other languages are starting to be able to be used on the web, and it's not necessarily for things that like React or Angular or Vue are being used for, but eventually they may bridge over into that area as well. But anyway, without getting off topic too much, I would say stepping back and investing your time, any free time you have, into learning computer science basics, or really basics all the way through to the advanced stuff, is going to serve you really well. So if you have the time to pepper in some computer science topics into your learning, which of course you should be learning all the time, anytime you have free time, if you're not working on a project or working on something for work or working on something personal to help you get hired so you can have work, then you should be learning computer science topics. And so like I said before, that would involve anything from network design to how the internet works, computers, all the way from hardware to software, assembly language, basically everything from the ones and zeros to the most abstracted high-level language that you can think of. You should know end to end as much as possible. And so I don't know all that stuff. I know some of it. I don't know all of it. I don't think there's anybody out there that knows all of it, but that's the thing. There's always something to learn, and fortunately there's a lot of great guides out there that can kind of help you get started. So I'll actually post a website in the description below. It's got a bunch of free books and videos on YouTube, stuff from places like Stanford and I don't know, like Berkeley and other places that they have lectures that are available for free, and you can watch those computer science instructors teach you all these different concepts without having to pay a dime. It's really just about time. If you can invest a bunch of time in it, then that is going to be where you're going to win. So yeah, I'll put that link in the description below. But yeah, so to answer the question, just to go over it again, should you as a self-taught web developer focus on computer science stuff? Yes, I think that is a really good way to bulletproof your career. It'll help you go from being kind of a junior or intermediate novice level developer to a senior level developer a lot faster. So that's my little piece of advice today. Just if you have an opportunity to pick up some CS stuff, then I think you'll appreciate it. The more you get into it, the more things will make sense. You'll be like, oh, that's why that's the way it is. That's why these programming languages that I'm learning are very similar, and you'll start seeing patterns, and you'll understand how programming languages work underneath the hood, and it'll make it a lot easier for you to pick up things like new frameworks, because you'll say, oh, I recognize these patterns that they're using, and I understand why they're doing the things that they're doing to be able to optimize the code and the programs and the frameworks, etc. So that stuff will begin to make a lot more sense. And all in all, anytime you invest learning computer science topics will really help you in your web development or just as a programmer as a whole. Yep, so that's my piece of advice. I'm gonna get back to this beautiful day. If you have any questions or comments, leave them in the description or leave them in the comments below. And in the description, I will have a link to one website for sure that has kind of a guide to a bunch of different computer science topics, books, videos, things like that. And I think most, if not all of them, are free. All right, cool. Thanks a lot, and we'll see you in the next video.